Did Jesus really exist? And it's by Awake. And going into Jehovah's Witness people, the Watchtower. And it goes through historians, and they have a quote from Albert Einstein in here about, Jesus. And look at the sources they give. Tacitus, Suetonius, Pliny, Flavius Josephus, and the Talmud. That's a lot of sources that are missing. And the funny thing is here, look at this. These ellipses burn frankincense to your image and blank, 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 who finally cursed Christ, stepped on the cross and defiled the images, their holy images and relics. And this guy lived from 61 to 113. So that early, from an enemy of the church, this is not somebody who likes Christians, is disputing the Watchtower's dogma, this freaking crazy cult of Jehovah's Witnesses. But, okay, why do I get impassioned about it, right? And somebody asked me about this copy, this Aramaic copy. Yes, I have one, and I have the translation into Spanish as well. That's what I usually show. I hate even this, where they make him look. That's terrible. But okay, here's one. This is the Catholic version of the Bible or whatever. Jesus existing. Does it offend? This is the thing. It doesn't offend any religious part of me. I mean, I love history so much. It offends the historian in me, and history is like a religion to me, basically. It's who we are and where we came from. And the idea of somebody saying, Jesus didn't exist, I read such and such book on it, or this disproves it, or that disproves it. And then claiming, oh, you only believe Jesus existed because somebody told you, or it's like, oh my God, the pot calling the kettle black, but it's the pot calling, the linen bed sheets black. It's ludicrous. I don't know, I've even argued, and I do, to the detriment of the Christian theology. It's far easier for atheists to crack, and this is what I am befuddled about. Taking the four Gospels, all right, and looking at, the Gnostic Gospels, they're later and they're exclusives, right? This is the secret teaching. He pulled me aside. This is secret teaching. That's how the Apocryphon of John or James begins. That's how the Sayings Gospel of Thomas begins. It's how the Gospel of Judas begins. Like people say, oh, you can't use the Bible to prove Jesus existed. Hold on. What do you think the Bible is? This was written, these books were written by different people, not the same person. Inspired by God? Well, yeah, every hymn that's written is inspired by God. I'm inspired, right? I could be inspired by LSD to do something. I could be inspired by my dog to do something. But Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were different writers. Wrote these books at different periods for different reasons in different congregations. Again, briefly, it was Mark. Then Matthew came along and had Mark and Q and Judaized the hell out of it then Luke came along and said Matthew's wrong, and Matthew probably is the Ebionite gospel that we hear about that was condemned as heretical. And he Luke takes Mark and Q and restores basically the view that Mark has, that Gentiles and Jews are equal, whereas in Matthew this doesn't happen until the very end. Jesus is always for the Jews, even sending away Gentiles. And then you have John. Two of those stories don't have a virgin birth in them, by the way. And even in Mark, which is very early, you have 1/3 of it, which is the passion narrative, and then you have the first 2/3 that are real quick. But even moving away from that, let's look at extra biblical stuff. I mean, Didache, the stuff the stupid Jehovah's Witnesses chopped up and misquoted, stuff from Pliny, Tacitus, Suetonius, Celsus. I don't even think they listed Celsus in there, did they? No, they don't even have Celsus in here. Yeah, his quotes are too much. Suetonius, Pliny the Younger, Tacitus as well. And you look at what the Romans say about them. Obviously, this cult began of this people believing this guy who was crucified rose from the dead, right? And they're even bickering with each other. There's no central authority. And it's in a place, it's easy to find out, and all the historical characters that get mentioned in these works are real. And then you get Paul, who's 3 years after the crucifixion, writing to different communities. Now, there's 7 authentic Pauline letters, but even the pseudo-Pauline works that are in the Bible and the pastorals are pseudo-Pauline, or pseudonymous, I should say, and then the questionable stuff like 2 Thessalonians, Ephesians, those are still within the first century. But this is the 7 authentic works of Paul. He's writing these to communities of people. I mean, just using Occam's razor. But the amount of evidence we have for Jesus of Nazareth existing, being the natural born son of Mary and Joseph, because when I approach history, miracles don't supernatural doesn't factor into history. You can look at it through that kind of lens, but I try to divorce it as much as humanly possible. The natural born son of Mary and Joseph was an apocalyptic preacher who was executed because the Jews were scared that he was going to incite riots when Jerusalem's population swelled 5 times its normal population density because of the holy days. And the Romans didn't hesitate to put down, to execute a hell of a lot of people and just massacre a bunch of people to put down any type of rebellion. And there was a lot of these figures around this time. This is actually the Messianic period, basically, from right 100, basically from the end of the end of the Hasmonean period to the fall of the temple, and even afterwards, even to Bar Kokhba, you had people claiming to be the Messiah. Bar Kokhba was supposedly the Messiah. But yeah, he's made up, or it's so ridiculous. Or the Bible was put together at Nicaea. Are you kidding me? Irenaeus writes about the 4 Gospels. Tatian does. It just upsets the historian in me, because people saying this, again, this is the ludicrousness of Julianism, which unfortunately most atheists today, because of the, again, most vocal atheists, this is the type of lunacy this skepticism, the blind sheep calling themselves skeptics, like anti-vaxxers, flat earthers, 9/11 was an inside job. You're all fooled, but I know the truth. Kennedy was Oswald didn't shoot Kennedy. Okay. Let's look at all the evidence, and then it's my love of history, which precedes basically everything. It enrages me so much. Do I care that people believe Jesus was the Son of God? No, not the second. Was the incarnation of the Logos? I probably should. I actually don't care. That's probably not something I should admit. Um, you know, should I care if people believe he's second person of the Trinity? Yeah, I wish people were more Christian. It doesn't actually enrage me though that people don't believe that. But because that's whatever. That's religion. That's extra stuff. But when it's just facts, when it's blatant facts, like 9/11, the planes never hit the towers, right? That's an actual thing. Or none of those people died in 9/11. That enrages me because it's just a blatant denial, and people will pompously parade that around. Y2K, that's gonna fall, or oh my god, this kind of ridiculous crap.